be like at 6:30 in the morning, too, so. Then we had that.
We are now live streaming.
Okay. Well, good evening, everybody. Tonight we have, for our work session, Freeman Peterson is going to present the Townlight Storage Facility Project.
Good evening. My name is Bob Blood from GPI, landscape architect. With me this evening is the project owner, Frank Adolph from TJR Products, and the developer, Mark Tuffalaro. We'd like to introduce to you the proposed project for assembly facility on Town Line Road. It's located just about a mile south of Walden and just north of the trailhead for the Heritage Trail, which is down this way. It's between two existing residences. It's just under 4 acres in size. And the plan is for two 10,000 square foot buildings that would be devoted to light industrial product assembly. This would be done in phases with just this one building here. The first phase, and then what's in this, behind this boulder line, would be the second building and its associated parking and infrastructure. We have an image of the building here rendered. It's a metal pole barn type building, slab on grade, 10,000 square feet with a couple of overhead doors and access from the front. We've got this a paved road coming in, paved drive coming in from Town Line Road, concrete apron by the building. The rest of the pavements would be a gravel surface for the delivery trucks and that to make their movements and enter the building. We will be doing septic system, probably sand filter out the front. The stormwater would all be treated and collected in the back corner of this property with an outlet to the north branch of Plum Creek. We're planning on bringing in a private hydrant and locating it in about this area for fire protection for the two buildings. And then the other associated utility connections would all come in off the Town Line frontage. It's not a whole lot more to it than that. If you have any questions for either us or the owner, I'd be happy to answer them.
Do you need any variances, and is it properly zoned?
No and yes.
IDA financing?
IDA financing?
Are you going through the IDA and all?
No.
How are you going to mitigate noise, dust? Because those two properties are right where trucks will be coming in.
Right. There's extensive existing vegetation along both property lines, which we will maintain to at least a 5 or 6 foot wide buffer area. There's, when you see the landscape plans and that, but there's a bunch of mature trees all along this property line, and this is kind of a mixture of trees and shrubs, and it does circle all the way around the back of their property. So we're going to maintain that. If we have to reinforce that somehow, we will, but right now we think adequate buffering exists. And all these properties are in the industrial zone too. There's residential use, obviously.
Any other questions?
Simple, straightforward, yeah.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much.
Sure.
For coming in. Wish you best of luck.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Okay, so with that, we're going to move on. Matt, anything from the building and zoning?
Yes, we spoke earlier during the Drainage Committee meeting. It was a lengthy report that was submitted earlier today. Primarily, I don't know how it happened, but somehow a stormwater facility was transferred through the real estate auction to a private individual. The stormwater facility is a part of the infrastructure of the Rue Madeline location is for that entire subdivision that was built some 30 some odd years ago. So I still don't understand how an infrastructure property was auctioned off. The town had requested the county to seize it in the land in the auction. We attempted in a couple of years through the land bank to acquire it, but as it remains, that one was sold September 20th. The other two defunct properties still remain on the tax rolls as deficient facilities. So I don't know where we need to go with this, but I'm going to reach out to that current owner, the new owner, let him know what his responsibilities of that facility are, and hopefully get that property into compliance.
It was sold this year.
September 20th,
Week and a half ago.
week and a half ago at the county tax auction.
Were we notified that it was on the box? I mean, I don't think my office was.
This is the first I heard of it was this morning through an inquiry from the clerk's office on any fines or fees that were assessed to the property. This was one of the three that was approved on a resolution of July 17th. That's correct.
Anything else, Matt?
Well, our discussion we had the other day regarding the proposed budget for 2024, I request some kind of a meeting, a discussion with the board on where the building and zoning department needs to go. Happy to have those discussions at your leisure whenever you are free. I'll make myself available to discuss positions, what our responsibilities are, what it's going to take to get that department to be able to perform those duties that are required by the state and, of course, our local charter. That should do it.
Ed?
Senior center moving along, sidewalks are basically done, they got one handicap ramp left to do. Pickleball courts are done, and they've initiated work on the pavilion. Doing some clearing and grubbing, I know they're working on the permit with Matt, so that's moving along. The historical building next door, they've started work over there on the siding repair, and they first working on some work on the front steps they had to come back and take care of. It's the same contractor, so he's doing some repair work there, but that started. The Historic Society County grant, schoolhouse work's moving ahead. It's an HVAC complete. Masonry work is ongoing right now, and the Opera House HVAC work is underway. I found out last week.
How much?
Forget what the quote was that we finally got from Custom Air, but it was, let me see. Town Hall soffits, we're working with a low bidder, looking at ways to revise the scope possibly. The other option there is that we're about 100 to 125,000 short in the bond. I did check, there is ARPA money available should the town wish to decide to just move ahead and do the work. Otherwise, what we're looking to do is scale back the work enough to get the door open, and then come back next year and do another bid to finish the work. So those are two options. I'd like the board to make a decision relatively quickly, just because of the time of year. If we're going to get somebody out there, we want to either do it all or just,
I would vote to get it finished.
that's fine with me.
You said about $100,000 that we
100 to 125, yeah.
and I would see if there's ARPA money available to use that.
Yeah, supposedly there is. I checked. There's
And
our
my vote is to go that way.
The rest of the board agree with it?
Yeah.
I mean, I'll move ahead with the
fine
contract,
with
the
it.
low bidder, have them work with it.
Might as well just get it done, because if we wait till next year, other prices just keep skyrocketing.
Yeah,
And plus you're inconveniencing everybody too.
Yeah.
and you would play another, I know you would pay the mobilization charge, you got a guy go here twice. Especially working where he is working, because that's part of the cost. Okay, that's fine. Windows, I haven't heard back from New York Forward. I know they're supposed to be making their decision this week, next week.
The last committee meeting is going to be in the month of October, and then it goes to the state for the final decisions of the awarding of the grants.
Brickyard, we're looking at the scope. We purposely bid that with distinct line items on items that were added kind of after what we originally thought, so probably going to take some items out so we can get the fencing done and the backstops done and the dugouts at a minimum. We may pull out the water line and do that later. And Warner Road, said survey's complete, met with Highway, so that design is starting. The goal for that is to have it out to bid sometime this winter, so construction can start next spring. That's it.
Okay. Anything from the clerk's office? Anything from the attorney's office?
Couple things.
Sure.
You guys all got my email on the 525 pavement, the Psych Center improvements that had the costs. I haven't heard back on any of that. Just to remind you, if you guys could take a look at it, maybe get me an email. The budget transfers, it's just sort of a general announcement for anyone who's listening that we've got a bunch in for a resolution here, a second resolution tonight. I had some questions on that today, Mr. Supervisor. I don't know just what were we using it for, and have decisions been made, because we don't have a resolution to pay for anything at this
Are you
point.
talking about the 40,000?
Yeah.
Yeah, we do have a suspended.
Right. That's just a transfer, but
Okay.
we don't know what
So,
it's going
Yeah, so
for.
it's being used to upgrade the system. So Joe Ligamari, TechNet, is basically upgrading. That's going to assist with all the servers that we've been having issues with. So all that stuff has been taken care of. He talked to Mary on this to put it, make sure we have the money in the budget for it.
All right.
So, while we're here, instead of
Right.
waiting for the resolution, is this with TechNet?
Yes.
And were there proposals for this? Because this is the first I'm hearing about it. And, why didn't we know that the server had to be updated?
Well, you've seen all the emails going flying with all the problems.
Right, back and forth, but usually with the police station, we get it broken down of, it's O'Connell Electric, this is how much it is, this is what they're doing. And, I mean, that's all this says is for a cloud server. I mean, I know what a cloud is, but what is it, what is $40,000
So we'll get-
actually being used? Is it a brand new server? If we wait 2 weeks to get a breakdown of exactly what they're doing, what would, what happens to our server, what's gonna happen?
So this is a budget transfer to put the money in there. It's not the resolution to do the work. I'm sure TechNet will provide us with that detail.
Okay.
We're not spending it today, we're putting it into account,
Just into account.
so we are ready to,
So we still have another couple weeks before
Yeah.
we get anything? Okay.
you haven't done any RFP or anything like that yet. I was just letting you know that had come up.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, did we have anything before? Did the servers have to be updated, in the beginning of the year? You know what I mean? Not, they have a lifespan? Was there a,
TechNet's been talking about this, I think, for about 2 years.
Yep.
And I think for whatever reason, it bit the dust in the last week or so. I know the clerk's office has had problems. I'm pretty sure everybody's had problems. You've
About
had
the last-
problems.
The last
Assessor,
2 weeks, it's been.
You've had problems, everything's
Yeah.
been tough.
I know my office is shut down twice, I think, on SharePoint and on emails. But we came back sort of quick. I think others were affected worse than I. But it's been ongoing, so I don't know that it's just been, I think it's old equipment, and it is actually an in-house server, isn't it? They want to cloud-base it, so we don't have those issues, in-house issues. Next thing I had was Greenlight Networks, been in negotiations. We're close on a contract, but we have differing opinions on whether the town should be compensated. I did get some emails back from you guys, and I think Councilmember Dickman said that Mr. Espinoza is in the house, so I don't know if he's going to speak tonight or not on anything, but just remind you guys, maybe you could give me a little more input, not just I support compensation, but let's talk a little bit about where you want compensation to be. Are we talking in line with the cell towers, or are we talking in line with a per user? What is it you guys want to see? If you have any ideas. Otherwise, I'll just work it out with Mr. Espinoza, however that goes. The speed limits, you all saw what I had on speed limits, and I believe you sent, I think the supervisor's office sent a letter.
account for,
You have to do a general letter, basically.
yeah, to the county for waivers, right?
Well, it also includes.
All three.
Also includes Warner and Stutzman.
Oh, okay.
We can't do that either, so we have to, I
Gotcha.
had an
Yeah, I didn't
in-depth
know it was
conversation
Warner
with Tom on
I
this.
think I sent you guys some stuff, but we fall in that range, we're under 50,000,
Yep, yep, yep.
and we're not a village, and we're not a city, so we have to go through this process.
The New York State Vehicle and Traffic Law gives the authority to set speed limits to villages and cities. Towns with populations of 50,000 or more are defined as suburban towns in Section 3 of the town law may also set their own speed limits. So since we do not have, we're at 45,000, so we cannot. So we have to extend county road with such times, we have to go out and ask permission, basically.
From the county.
Well, they'll take it up the chain.
And I'm going to ask your permission to refer 324 pavement back to the planning board. My understanding is that if we approve them the way they are, they're going to be out of compliance in a landlocked parcel. And that's a significant material fact that changed. Apparently they went and did a transfer on their own and landlocked the rear parcel. They want to do something with the front parcel that fronts to pavement. So we got to send it back. They're out of compliance in 2 or 3 different areas, and so that's going to go back to planning board for both seeker and site review. I'm going to refer that back to them. DCO, y'all saw the DCO request, and I spoke to Eric Major about that today. We're going to change the language a little bit from what he proposed and tighten it up, and then we'll get that out to you guys for approval, and we'll start the process with seeker and public hearing. And that's all I have.
Okay. We have 25 resolutions, so the suspended should be 26, correct?
No, we have 26.
26 plus 1.
What am I missing on the agenda?
A second email that went out
Oh,
shortly
okay.
after the first.
That's what happened.
Do you need the,
No. That's why I have the agenda then. I think that's the budget transfer, this 26, isn't it?
no, that's the suspended. Number 26 was a
No, that's a-
seeker neg deck.
Okay, that's Mazur's. Okay,
Yes.
gotcha. Yeah. all right. No. This one, no. Okay, then, Michelle, anything from Highway?
Just want to let everyone know that the leafers have been serviced, they're ready to go. We are doing it a little different this year. We're going to do leaf pickup south side of Broadway on Mondays and Tuesdays, north side of Broadway Wednesday and Thursdays, to try to complete this task in a short period of time, keeping all the leafers in one section of town. So we're finishing up our drainage. It's pretty much done. Blacktop is pretty much done. We are going forward with a few other small drainage projects because of the weather, and that's where we're at. Thank you.
Chief, anything from the police?
All my comments tonight are going to be based on grants. We did receive word that the federal grant that Chief Karn and Captain Smith worked on last year for the body cameras has been put through. Apparently there's some documentation you and I have to sign in order to make that final. I haven't seen that yet, but the money is going to be released as soon as we were able to do that. We should be finding out within the next week. Hopefully, we applied for the COPS grant with the hopes of reimbursing the town with some funding for 2 officers. We should be getting word back from them within the next week or 2. Traditionally, it's been due to come out on the end of September. We've gotten notice usually the second week of October. So hopefully before the next board meeting, we'll find out if we've received any funding to assist with personnel. The last, we just found out today that there is a grant going to be released by the state, $50 million, that's going to be given to municipalities to aid in vehicle theft. It's going to be used for technology-based products, drones, cameras, the plate reader type cameras. We're going to be seeking some funding for some various needs that we have, and I'll get further into those details as we discuss with the administration what products we need to really be seeking.
Thank you. Okay, so I guess we'll move on to resolutions. I had the first two general ones, which is the minutes and on the claims. And Councilmember Mason, number
Yes,
three.
as always, the third one is the acknowledgement issuance of billing permits for the last 2 weeks.
Okay, Councilmember Burkhart, number four.
Confirm membership for Twin District.
Okay, 5 and 6 are mine, and this was actually kind of at my supervisor forum meetings that came up, and Thomas Houston, supervisor, was basically saying that they had a inspection of their kennel, and it passed, but they were warned that it would never pass again. So after the forum meeting, I got together with her and said, I think I could help you out. And that started the process. We had the old kennel sitting there. It really was of no use. At first, we were going to try to move it closer to our newer kennel so we could use it as an auxiliary. But Ed went and determined that it would be quite costly to move it with the electric hookups and things of that nature. So this option seemed to be a viable option for us as well, to basically put some funds in our coffer, as well as assisting them greatly with their needs. So the kennel, you know, it's going to get them through at least 5-10 years, and that's what they were looking for. They were looking for a kennel that can house 4 dogs, and that's what that kennel houses exactly. So 5 and 6 is for the surplus of it, and 6 is the sale. And then 7 is a designation of an official holiday for Halloween. 8 will be hydrant rental charges. 9 will be the setting the public hearing for the community block development program. Again, there's steps that you have to take before you can qualify to apply for those funds. And just so everybody knows, the only thing that we qualify for in the town is the senior center. You have to be low to moderate income. We do not have blocks in the town of Lancaster that do qualify for that. However, the senior center is considered low to moderate income, and that's why all those projects you see that come through basically come through from the senior center, because that's the only spot that qualifies. Where if you go to other areas, you're going to see them getting sidewalks and a village street and something like that. And I'm on a committee actually, so I go and I view the South Town projects, and you know, I'm walking through districts and theater districts and stuff like that, and you know, for sidewalk applications or parking lots and things of that nature. Again, we'll never see that here at this point until, you know, they redistrict, or maybe we do find, or they do another census, and maybe they find, you know, an area that is low and moderate income. But again, you have to qualify. I think it's a 3-block range or something like that. So, Councilman Dickman, you have 10 through 12.
10 is the transfer of the special use permit from town to West Her at 5255 Genesee Street. Number 11 is to set a public hearing for a special use permit for LO and collision at 501 Erie Street. Number 12 is to authorize a renewal of a special use permit for a dog grooming business run out of a residence at 208 Ransom Road.
Okay, 13 is mine, is appoint another van driver, all part-time. They're going through van drivers left and right. Number 14 is to reappoint a person on the Assessment Review Board. And then Councilmember Dickman, you have number 15.
Number 15 is to set the public hearing for a special use permit for a green drop facility in the parking lot at 4723 Transit Road.
Okay, Councilmember Mays, we'll be doing Mr. Leary's number 16.
Yeah, this is to rescind the resolution that was adopted on September 18th for the public hearing, to move it and to set the new public hearing date.
Okay, 17 is mine, to set the public hearing for the special district budget. 18 is mine as well, to set the public hearing for the preliminary budget. Councilmember Burkhart, number 19.
Rescind resolution adopted September 18th for Justice Courts Assistant Program, and also authorize aid application for the Justice Courts Assistant Program.
Can I just comment quickly on why that is? We submitted the resolution with the information that was provided to us, and it was rejected in Albany twice. This is the third time we drafted that resolution, and finally got them to agree that the wording is proper before we put it back on for you guys. They literally changed the rules midstream on this twice.
Councilman, yep, you good?
Yeah, I can say it without looking at it. No.
Councilmember Mazur, number 20 and 21.
Yes, 20 is to adopt a seeker neg deck for O'Reilly Auto Parts on 5057 Transit Road. 21 is to adopt a negative seeker declaration at 728 Aurora Street for a subdivision split of property, 2-lot.
And Councilmember Burkhart, number 22.
Authorize change order number 2 to Heritage Contract Flooring for purchase of LVT flooring in the Highway Department.
And 23 is mine, it's authorize budget transfers. And then Councilmember Mazur, you have 24 through 26.
Yes, first one, 24, is to adopt a negative secret declaration on Pine Hill Estate subdivision at 611 Pavement Road. 25 is to approve the preliminary plot for Pine Hill Estates. And 26 is to adopt a secret negative declaration on a 4-lot minor subdivision at 5767 and 5775 Genesee Street.
Okay, 27 is going to be the suspended resolution, which we talked about earlier, and it's a budget transfer for cloud server updates. And that's it. So we'll take a break for 5 minutes and then reconvene. Yep.
As soon as I saw white, I go, it's just...
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's,
Figured I'd stop by.
Hey, Kevin.
Steve Elder for
How are you?
questions. How are you?
Sure, we'll talk before the week's out.
Yeah, absolutely. If you guys have any questions, feel free to-
Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
Hey, Jim.
I was confused, Tom.
You got a second?
There was a public hearing that they were voting on for next meeting, but this, I thought he said he was with.
What are we doing?
Told Kevin that he said it was public hearing for next meeting.
How you doing, bud?
Oh, green, got you.
If you hear about the road speed, that's already been taken care of.
About what?
The road speed, is that what you're here for?
No, that's not
Okay.
right. But that's one of the things.
Don't even, it's set. So we have to go through.
I understand.
Okay, so I've already sent a letter to our legislator. We are a township under 50,000 people. We have no authority to set the road speed limits.
That was one of those.
But we have to go through the town, or through the legislator to get approval, and then the state DOT, they have to, so we have to request them. Okay, so we're following the steps.
I understand there is a process.
Yep. So it's been started.
That's why I called Wednesday. I just
Yep.
wanted to find out, all I'm looking for is just an acknowledgement.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
It's all set.
I very much
Yep.
appreciate it.
You're welcome.
I think everybody's on board with that, too. I think everybody's on board with this for next week, so.
No, that's not what I'm here for.
I know, but that's-
But
that's what you know, that
I
everybody-
know that I really appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
But I want to make sure you understand that that's all. I have.
Yeah.
They're done. Grass is-
Doorknob's broken. When I came in here, it's broken.
Okay.
So it moved on to loose.
Yeah, Bruce says funeral. The wake and funeral tomorrow is all good. I'll put a note in.
Can be locked. Open it, just goes like that.
Which one, this one here? We were having that, my office, couldn't get a key. What? Fingers in there. A lot of symbols, I don't know,
That's-
old and broke down or whatever. But he
That's
had-
a new part of the building.
But we use a phone. That's all. He had something locked from Vegas. It's a bad afternoon. That's just like those. Couldn't have it open.
What's that?
Wouldn't open. Or if it did, it just stunk.
I thought you said Kia, like something.
Oh, that old kid.
With these cars. That's, my daughter has a Kia down in the city. Every night I just,
Yeah.
she's got a newer one, push start, but her roommate last year got their kids looking into in the driveway. I know, but I should. I'm hoping that whoever's gonna steal will see it, so it's like, keyless, man, they'll just go by it, but
Just east of Grayson next door.
cross my fingers every time. Yeah, well, now they're getting a little bit more sophisticated, but the ones that offload, they're, yeah, the keyed ones. And the girl, we might have a keyed one. I'm sorry, she did not have a keyed one, but they broke the window. Well, I think. To get in, I think it was. I know. This is keyless.
I would assume that the seats in the suite would count towards the sleeping vest.
I would think so.
Just looking at New Year's, the first of the month. It's a Tuesday, I guess. Yep.
Don't ask me that.
No, that's why I looked right past it. I started in your direction, then like, no, wait a minute.
Yeah, just like any of the meetings whenever like. There's a,
Monday night, Wednesday.
there's the next one, yeah.
Rating system?
No, it's had a terrible number.
So it's the 6th or 7th, they didn't,
Well, and I was thinking, because we we're gonna go Thursday to Monday.
Saturday.
Like, I guess I gotta.
Yeah, had the beams in it.
but they didn't say if that game was gonna be a Saturday or Sunday yet.
They don't know yet.
Yeah,
It's not gonna, it can't be a Thursday,
yeah, but that stinks.
so that's what we called it. Before we got the tickets, can they flex it to a Thursday? They said, no. It's Saturday, Sunday.
I go to the Miami game too. I just might not come back. Especially that time of year, you look at the weather.
We'll call the meeting to order. Dan, would you please do roll?
Councilmember Burkhart.
Here.
Councilmember Dickman.
Here.
Councilmember Leary. Councilmember Mazer.
Here,
Supervisor Rufino.
Here. The pledge will be done by Mazer and the invitation as well.
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Heavenly Creator, grant us the wisdom and the courage to do what is right for our community. May we speak up when it's time to speak up and listen patiently and receptively to each other and all community members. May we always be guided by the spirit of community and justice to all. Amen.
Okay, tonight's meeting, we have 26 pre-filed resolutions, 1 suspended resolutions. We don't have any public hearings. We have 3 executive sessions, 1 being for, under number 1, it's a rezone at Harris Hill, 2 being under number 2 for Highway Department, and the 3rd one being under number 2 as well. We will be closing in memory of Margaret Peggy Gessner. And at this point, I will call anybody to the podium that would like to speak on any of the 27 resolutions that are filed. Just raise your hand, come up to the podium. Yes, that's on the resolutions, right?
I'm not sure. I am under the impression I saw under the minutes that the information about building moratorium, is that under this tonight, or am I misunderstood?
Yeah, that's going to be a
Public hearing.
it's a pulled one.
Just setting the public hearing.
Yeah, that's set in the public
Number
hearing.
16.
So it's really, it's not, it's going to be set in the public hearing, and then you would come to that public hearing and speak on that event.
So it's not tonight,
Right.
but I can speak about it at the end of the meeting, correct?
You can, but you're going to want to speak at the public hearing.
I would also like to speak at the end of the meeting.
Sure.
Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else like to speak? Okay, then we're going to move on to official reports. Matt, anything?
Nothing further than what was reported during the work session, except I really want to express my disappointment in the transfer of a stormwater pond to a private individual that should have been transferred to the town 30 years ago when the development was installed. I just don't understand the transfer. So I'm hoping that as a board, some communication could be had to the county to understand why that that facility was transferred, and not the other 2 that we're really in need of owning so that we can maintain it. Thank you.
Okay. Anything else?
Nothing other than what I
No?
reported.
Any board members, anything? Just a couple of things I have. First off, Lancaster, the Pew-Elma Chamber of Commerce put out a little booklet, and it was nice enough to, I had a featured page, which I spoke highly of our township, So if you get a chance, get a copy of it or take a read. But I don't know if you guys seen it or not. And then the other thing I'd like to mention, the B ran an article, town traffic lights synced up with new backup system. System enhances town personnel and traveler safety during the big storms. We had a press conference, Monica Wallace ran a press conference. She brought the funding that covered almost the whole thing, the cost of it. And the reason why I'm saying this is that it went live this day, Thursday, and then shortly thereafter, was it last week, we had a power outage, like Friday? Yeah, we had a power outage, and the signals, the system, backup system kicked in. Everything's working fine. So, you know, again, great thing for our township. As I mentioned before, we're the first township, or we're the first municipality in all of North America to completely convert our system, our light signals over to the system. So, yeah, it's we took the lead on this one, so I'm proud to report that. And again, you know, thank Assemblymember Wallace for recognizing this as being such an important feature. She actually came to the facility with me, one of my many visits there, to actually view the technology. And as I did right away, noticed the real need for it. So yeah, so when you see those little boxes, those little green, but those white boxes with a green V on it, that's they're on the 8 corners that I spoke of earlier. That's basically what it is. That's the backup unit. Okay, so we'll move on to our resolutions at this point. Yep. Oh, so we're going to turn it over to Diane just to read something about the budget. Public hearing.
I am submitting the supervisor's tentative budget to the town board officially. And one other thing I just wanted to say is that at our next meeting on October 16th, by the close of business that day, will be the last day to pay your school taxes without penalty. The next day, it's 7.5%, so I urge everyone to pay timely. Thank you.
Okay, so now we'll move on to resolutions. I'd like to present resolution number 1. This is out the minutes of the regular meeting of the town board held on September 18th, 2023, being hereby approved. May I have a second?
Second.
On the question, on the roll.
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazur?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes. I'd like to move resolution number 2. This is out the following amount of claims being hereby ordered paid from the respective accounts as per abstract to be filed in the office of town clerk by the supervisor's office. It's check run number 10022023. Total amount hereby authorized to be paid is $605,883.82. May I have a second?
Second.
On the question, on the roll.
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazur?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes. Councilmember Mazur, number 3, please.
Yes, sir. Honorable members of the board, I offer the following resolution and move for its adoption. Be it resolved that the following building permit applications are and hereby reaffirmed. There was a total of 76, 58 in the town, 18 in the village. Now therefore be it resolved that the building permit applications are herein quoted CSW for conditional sidewalk waiver being hereby reaffirmed. The waiver of the town ordinance required for sidewalks. However, the waiver is granted upon the express condition. The town of Lancaster at any future date reserves the right to order sidewalk installation at the expense of the property owner.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the question, on the roll.
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Excuse me. Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazur?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes. Councilmember Burkhart, number 4, please.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor and Honorable Town Board. I am offering Resolution 4 for adoption. Whereas the Twin District Volunteer Fire Company, by letter received September 15th, 2023, has requested the deletion of 2 members from the active roster of said fire association. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster hereby deletes from the membership of the Twin District Volunteer Fire Company the following individuals: Gina Russo and Nicholas Long.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the question, on the roll.
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazur?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes, I'd like to move resolution number 5. Now therefore be it resolved, the town board of the town of Lancaster hereby declares the 4-kennel dog control facility to be surplus and authorizes the town of Lancaster to sell the 4-kennel dog control facility at fair market value without competitive offering or bidding pursuant to New York State General Municipal Law, Chapter 24, Article 5A, Section 103(6). May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll.
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazur?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes. I'd like to move resolution number 6, whereas the Town Board of Town of Lancaster declared its 4-kennel dog control facility as surplus, whereas the Town of Newstead wishes to purchase and move said 4-dog kennel control facility, whereas Ed Schiller, the Town of Lancaster consulting engineer, has determined fair market value to be $12,500, whereas New York State General Municipal Law, Chapter 24, Article 5A, Section 103(6) permits that surplus and second-hand supplies, material, equipment may be purchased without competitive bidding or competitive offering from the federal government, the state of New York, or from any other political subdivision, district, or public benefit corporation. Whereas the Town of Newstead has asked to purchase and move said 4-kennel dog control facility for $12,500. Now, therefore, be it resolved, the Town Board of Town of Lancaster hereby authorizes the sale of the surplus 4-kennel dog control facility to the Town of Newstead pursuant to the contract of sale as presented, and be it further resolved that this sale is an as-is, where-is sale, and be it further resolved, the Town of Newstead shall be responsible for moving the surplus 4-kennel dog control facility, and be it further resolved, the Town Board of Town of Lancaster hereby authorizes and directs the supervisor to execute any and all documents to effectuate the above. May I have a second?
Second.
On the question. On the roll.
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazur?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes. I'd like to move resolution number 7. Now therefore be it resolved, Town Board of Town of Lancaster hereby declares Tuesday, October 31st, 2023, between the hours of 6 p.m. and 8:30 p.m. as the official period during which Halloween trick-or-treat activities may be observed within the Town of Lancaster. May I have a second?
Second.
On the question, on the roll.
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazur?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes, and this is in line with the Village of Lancaster and Village of Pew as well. I'd like to move resolution number 8. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town of Lancaster shall be responsible for payment of annual hydrant rental charges to the ECWA for one leased managed additional hydrant being installed under this project, which charges shall be funded by the respective hydrant district. Be it further resolved, the town clerk is directed to forward a certified copy of the resolution to Michael Erie County of the Erie County Water Authority. May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll.
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazur?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes. Okay, I'd like to move resolution number 9. Now therefore be it resolved that a public hearing to provide an opportunity for citizens to express community development and housing needs and to discuss possible projects which would benefit low and moderate income persons in the Town of Lancaster will be held at the Town Hall, 21 Central Avenue, on the 16th day of October, 2023 at 7:05 p.m. local time, and the notice of the time and place of such hearing be published in the Lancaster Bee, a local newspaper of general circulation in said town, and be on the town bulletin board, which notice shall be in the form attached hereto and made a part hereof. May I have a second?
Second.
On the question. On the roll.
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazur?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes. Councilmember Dickman, 10 through 12, please.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor and Honorable Town Board. I move resolutions 10 through 12. Whereas the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster held a public hearing on June 17, 2019, upon the application of Timothy Schmidt, manager at Town AVW and Town Volkswagen for a special use permit to operate an automobile dealership which includes service, repair, painting, and parts sales of motor vehicles on the premise located at 5255 Genesee Street, Bowmansville, in the Town of Lancaster. And whereas Town AVM and Town Volkswagen has moved to a new location and the real property owner is now West Her Automotive Group. And whereas by letter dated September 13th, 2023, Jim Malka, AIA Director of Facility Operations on behalf of West Her Auto Group, has requested transfer and renewal of the original special use permit. And whereas by letter dated September 15th, 2023, Matt Biscione, the Code Enforcement Officer, having consulted with the town attorney, has memorialized that the special use permit is transferable without a public hearing. And whereas the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster has reviewed this request and finds that the application for an automotive dealership, which includes service, repair, painting, and parts sales of motor vehicles as described in their special use application dated January 17th, 2019, renewed January 13th, 2021, meets the requirements listed in the town code and has decided the special use permit issued on June 17, 2019 to Town AVW for location of 5255 Genesee Street, Lancaster, New York, may be transferred to Wester Automotive Group. Now therefore be it resolved that pursuant to the Code of the Town of Lancaster, the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster hereby authorizes the special use permit issued June 17th to Town AVW to be transferred to Wester Auto Group upon the conditions set forth in the zoning ordinance for the period beginning January 13th, 2023 and ending January 12th, 2025. And be it further resolved that the applicant will continue in compliance with set conditions of the Code of the Town of Lancaster and any additional conditions listed herein as long as the applicant continues to engage in the occupation listed on the premise. And this has the same five on here.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazer?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes.
Number 11, whereas James John Ellis Jr., owner of Ellis Auto and Collision, has submitted an application for a special use permit to use the existing building located at 501 Erie Street, Building 503, Unit F, as an auto repair and storage facility as permitted by the Code of the Town of Lancaster, and whereas Chapter 400 Zoning, Article 14 Administration and Enforcement, special use permits of the zoning code of the Town of Lancaster requires that the Town Board conduct a public hearing before the issuance of a special use permit for the proposed use. Now therefore be it resolved that pursuant to Chapter 400 Zoning, Article 14 Administrative and Enforcement of the Code of the Town of Lancaster, a public hearing on the proposed special use permit for James John Ellis Jr., owner of Ellis Auto and Collision, to use the existing building at 501 Erie Street, Building 503, Unit F, Lancaster, to operate an auto repair and storage facility will be held at the Town Hall, 21 Central Avenue, Lancaster, New York, on the 16th day of October 2023 at 7:05 p.m. local time, and that notice of time and place of such hearing be published in the Lancaster Bee, a newspaper of general circulation in said town, and be posted on the town bulletin board, and that a copy of such notice of hearing be referred to the Erie County Department of Planning pursuant to Section 239M of the General Municipal Law, which notice shall be in the form attached hereto and made a part hereof.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazer?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes.
Number 12, whereas upon the application of Diane M. Darcy for a special use permit for the home occupation of dog grooming on the premise located at 208 Ransom Road, the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster has heretofore held a public hearing pursuant to the Code of the Town of Lancaster, and the board has issued a special use permit on September 18th, 2017, with subsequent renewals. The special use permit is now subject to renewal upon application by the applicant, and whereas Diane M. Darcy has requested that the Town Board renew the special use permit for an additional 2-year period, and whereas by letter dated September 15, 2023, the supervising code enforcement officer has recommended renewal of the special use permit with the original conditions. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster does hereby grant a renewal of the special use permit to Diane M. Darcy for home occupation of dog grooming on the premise located at 208 Ransom Road, Lancaster, New York, upon the terms and conditions set forth in the zoning ordinance, and that the applicant will continue in compliance with all conditions as set forth in the Code of the Town of Lancaster if the applicant continues to engage in the home occupation on the premise, including but not limited to, and these are the original 6 conditions.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazer?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes. I'd like to move us to number 13. Now therefore be it resolved, the following individual is hereby appointed to the following part-time permanent position in the Town of Lancaster Senior Center, working not more than 19 3/4 hours per week, and this being a part-time position provides no health insurance, sick days, vacations, or other fringe benefits not specifically mandated for part-time employees. It's Jeffrey Zandrowitz of Lancaster, van driver at $15 per hour. Effective date is October 3rd, 2023. Be it resolved, Supervisor of the Town of Lancaster shall be authorized to take all necessary action to implement the foregoing. May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazur?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes. I'd like to move resolution number 14. Now therefore be resolved that Frank Fielkowitz, Depew, New York, be and hereby appointed to the position of member, Board of Assessment Review for the term of October 1st, 2023 through September 30th, 2028. Be it further resolved, Supervisor Town of Lancaster shall be authorized to take all necessary action to implement the foregoing. Be it further resolved, that according to Section 523 of Real Property Tax Law, the town clerk shall notify the Erie County Director of Real Property Services within 20 days of this appointment. May I have a second?
Second.
On the question, on the roll.
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazur?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes, Councilmember Dickman, number 15, please.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor and Honorable Town Board. I offer Resolution 15 for its adoption. Whereas Ronald D. TVI Incorporated, doing business as Green Drop, 11400 Southeast 6th Street, Bellevue, Washington, 98004, has submitted an application for a special use permit to use a space in the parking lot at Forest Stream Plaza, 4723 Transit Road, Town of Lancaster, to operate a Green Drop mobile donation center as permitted by the County of Lancaster, whereas the Town of Lancaster requires that the Town Board conduct a public hearing before the issuance of a special use permit for the proposed use. Now therefore be it resolved that pursuant to Chapter 400 Zoning, Article 14, Administration and Enforcement, Section 78, Special Use Permits of the Code of the Town of Lancaster, a public hearing on the proposed special use permit for Ronald D. TVI Incorporated, doing business as Green Drop, is to use the space at the parking lot at Forest Stream Plaza, 5723 Transit Road, Town of Lancaster, to operate a Green Drop mobile donation center, will be held at Lancaster Town Hall, 21 Central Avenue, Lancaster, New York, on the 16th day of October 2023 at 7:05 local time, and that notice of time and place of such hearing be published in the Lancaster Bee, a newspaper of general circulation in said town, and be posted on the town bulletin board, and that a copy of such notice of hearing be referred to the Erie County Department of Planning pursuant to Section 239M of the General Municipal Law, which notice shall be in the form attached hereto and made a part hereof.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the question, on the roll.
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazur?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes, Councilmember Mazur, number 16, please.
Yes, sir. Mr. Supervisor and Honorable Town Board, I offer the following resolution, move for its adoption. Whereas Article 16 of the New York Town Law, Section 10 of the Municipal Home Rule Law of the State of New York provides for the adoption and enactment of local laws, whereas the attorney for the town has prepared a proposed local law to establish a one-year moratorium on applications, approvals, and construction of commercial residential development, and whereas the town board has reviewed the attached local law, and the town of Lancaster believes it is in the public interest to consider enacting the local law, and whereas the town board of the town of Lancaster scheduled a public hearing on this for October 2nd, 2023, at its September 18th, 2023 meeting, and whereas publication was not timely made to notify the public of this public hearing, whereas pursuant to the Town of Lancaster Town Code, the Municipal Home Rule Law, public hearing is required on the proposed local law. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board rescinds the September 18th, 2023 resolution scheduling the public hearing for October 2nd, 2023, and be it further resolved by the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster that, number one, the local law is hereby referred to the Erie County Department of Environment and Planner pursuant to New York State General Municipal Law 239M. Two, a public hearing for the proposed local law is hereby set for the 16th day of October, 2023 at 7:05 p.m. at Lancaster Town Hall. Three, the town clerk is directed to provide notice of the public hearing as required by law. And four, the resolution is effective immediately.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the question, on the roll.
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazur?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes. I'd like to move resolution number 17. And this resolved that a public hearing is hereby called and shall be held on the 16th day of October 2023 at 7:05 p.m. local time during the town board meeting at Lancaster Town Hall, at which time and place this town board will meet to consider the special district's budget for the year 2024 and to hear all persons interested in the subject matter thereof and concerning the same. And number two, that a legal notice of said public hearing be published in the Lancaster Bee on October 5th, 2023, which notice shall be in the form of attached hereto and made a part hereof, and which date of publication is not less than 10 nor more than 20 days prior to the public hearing. We have a second.
Second.
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazer?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes. I'd like to move resolution number 18. Now therefore be resolved, the said tentative budget without modification is hereby approved and shall become the preliminary budget of the town of Lancaster for the fiscal year beginning January 1st, 2024. And be it further resolved that said preliminary budget shall be made available by the town clerk to public for inspection during the regular business hours of the office of the town clerk. And be it further resolved, the public hearing on the preliminary budget of the town of Lancaster for the year 2024 be held by this town board at Lancaster Town Hall during the town board meeting on the 16th day of October 23rd at 7:05 p.m. or somewhere around there. I think we have 6 public hearings that day. Yeah, so be it further resolved that a legal notice of said public hearing upon the 2024 preliminary budget is required by Section 108 of the Town Law of the State of New York, be published in the Lancaster Bee on October 5th, 2023, which notice shall be in the form attached hereto and made a part hereof, and which date of publication is not less than 5 days prior to the public hearing. May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazer?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes. Councilmember Burkhart, number 19, please.
Mr. Supervisor and Honorable Town Board, I'm offering Resolution 19 for adoption. Whereas the State of New York United Court Systems is soliciting applications from local governments under the Justice Court Assistant Program, JCAP, to assist local justice departments with needed equipment, automation, furniture, supplies, and security. And whereas the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster approved a resolution authorizing application for these grant funds at their September 5th, 2023 meeting, and whereas the approved resolution identified that the funds are available through the Office of Justice Court Support, and whereas the Town Board has been asked to modify the name of the grant source, and whereas the Division of Professional and Court Services has made $30,000 available for the 2023-2024 grant cycle, and whereas by letter dated August 22nd, 2023, the Honorable Anthony Servey and Dave Stabler, Justices of the Justice Court of the Town of Lancaster, have requested authorization to pursue this grant funding to provide furniture, office equipment, and court facility improvements. And whereas this resolution supersedes and rescinds the resolution of September 18th, 2023, authorizing grant application authority. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster authorizes the Lancaster Town Court to apply for a JCAP grant in the 2023-24 grant cycle up to $30,000. And be it further resolved that the supervisor and the other appropriate town officials are hereby authorized and directed to execute all documents pertaining to the application and to the acquisition of said funding.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazer?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes. Councilmember Mazer, number 20 and 21, please.
Yes, Mr. Supervisor and Honorable Town Board, I offer the following resolution to move for its adoption. Whereas the Town Board is considering the proposed construction of the new 7,450 square foot O'Reilly Auto Parts retail store at 5057 Transfer Road, Lancaster, to include the development of associated asphalt parking, landscaping, site lighting, signage, and stormwater management facilities per NIDEC standards, and project covering a portion of a .98 acre physically disturbed area. And whereas the Town of Lancaster Planning Board has reviewed the potential adverse environmental impact proposed construction development pursuant to SEQA regulations at the meeting on September 20th, 2023, and recommended that a negative declaration be issued. And whereas the Town Board has duly considered the preliminary plot using the short environmental assessment form, the criteria for determining significance set forth in SEQA regulations, and such other information as deemed appropriate, including the recommendation of the Town of Lancaster Planning Board. And whereas the Town Board has identified the relevant areas of environmental concern, has taken a hard look at these areas, has made a reasoned elaboration of its basis for its determination, and whereas the proposed action be labeled an unlisted action under SEQA. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster that number one, the proposed construction of a new 7,450 square foot O'Reilly Auto Parts retail store to include the development of associated asphalt parking, landscaping, site lighting, signage, and stormwater management facilities. Said project covering a portion of .98 plus or minus acre physically disturbed area will not result in any large important impacts, and therefore is an action which will not have a significant adverse impact on the environment. And therefore, the board issues the attached negative declaration of environmental significance for the reasons stated therein. 2, the town clerk shall file a notice of the copy of the negative declaration in the file for the project. 3, the town attorney's office shall prepare and file a notice of determination of non-significance with the petitioner and with all required New York State and Erie County agencies, filing a copy of the letter of transmittal. Number 4, this resolution is effective immediately.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the question, on the roll.
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazur?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes.
Resolution number 21, Mr. Supervisor and Honorable Town Board, I offer the following resolution, move for its adoption. Whereas the Town Board is considering the proposed minor subdivision 2-lot split submitted by Ann and Todd Adamack at 728 Aurora Street, Lancaster. Said project being further described as a minor subdivision covering a portion of a .34 acre physically disturbed area. And whereas the proposed minor subdivision will have Lot 1 as a single-family dwelling and Lot 2 will be a vacant land. And whereas the Town of Lancaster Planning Board has reviewed the potential adverse environmental impacts of the construction project pursuant to seeker regulations at their meeting on September 20th, 2023, and recommend that a negative declaration be issued. And whereas the Town Board has fully considered the preliminary plot plan using the short environmental assessment form, criteria for determining significance set forth in seeker regulations, and such other information deemed appropriate, including the recommendation of the Town of Lancaster Planning Board. Whereas the Town Board has identified the relevant areas of environmental concern, taken a hard look at these areas and made a reasoned elaboration of the basis for its determination. Whereas the proposed action has been labeled unlisted under seeker, now therefore be it resolved by the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster that 1, the proposed minor subdivision 2-lot split development submitted by Ann and Todd Adamack, proposing the subdivision of a parcel at 728 Aurora Street involving approximately .34 acre physically disturbed area, will not result in any large or important impacts, and therefore is an action which will not have a significant adverse impact on the environment, and therefore the board issues the attached negative declaration of environmental significance for the reasons stated therein. 2, the town clerk shall file a copy of the negative declaration in the file for the project. 3, the town attorney's office shall prepare and file a notice of determination of non-significance with the petitioner and with all required New York State and Erie County agencies, filing a copy of the letter of transmission. And number 4, this resolution is effective immediately.
May I have a second?
Second.
Question? On the roll.
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazur?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes. Councilmember Burkhart, would you move resolution number 22, please?
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor and Honorable Town Board. I am offering Resolution 22 for adoption. Whereas Heritage Contract Flooring of Buffalo, New York, the contractor to replace the flooring at the Town of Lancaster Highway Department, has submitted change order number 2 to the Town Board for approval in the amount of $1,325.23 for a new total project not to exceed the amount of $6,923.95 to be taken from account number 01-1620-260 based on the description of work previously provided to the Town Board. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster hereby approves change order number 2 to Heritage Contract Flooring as described to the Town Board. Description of change order number 2. Additional compensation for the purchase of LVT flooring for the Town of Lancaster Highway Department. Change order number 2, the original contract sum was $3,975. The contract sum increased by previous change order number 1 in the amount of $1,623.72. The contract sum increased by this change order number 2 in the amount of $1,325.23. The new contract sum, including this change order number 2, will be $6,623.95. Be it further resolved that the supervisor be and is hereby authorized to execute this change order on behalf of the Town of Lancaster.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazer?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes. I'd like to move resolution number 23, whereas the Town Board of Town of Lancaster previously adopted an operating budget for the 2023 fiscal year, whereas one or more town departments have made budget transfers or requested budget transfers contrary to the original adopted operating budget for 2023 fiscal year. Whereas the Town Board of Town of Lancaster has duly considered the following budget transfers. From the police department, $20,000 from their gas and oil to public safety equipment to upgrade the server as recommended by TechNet. Senior Center, $14,300 from account 17610.225 to general fund, auction of old life van. Also Senior Center, $1,500 from 17610.451 to 14761.411. Correct accounting error. From the dog control, $1,000 from printing and advertising to kennel expense, unused and unneeded funds in printing and advertising, but needed and funded transferred to. Also, dog control, $500 from printing and advertising to uniforms and unrelated. And then also dog control, $1,000 from printing and advertising to other unclassified. Youth Bureau, $541.69 from professional services to auto parts and accessories for extraordinary van repairs. Also for the Youth Bureau, $100 from postage to auto parts and accessories for the van repairs. This is all for van repairs. Youth Bureau, from the printing and advertising, $200. Also from the Youth Bureau, repairs and maintenance, $400. And then from gas and oil from the Youth Bureau, $250. Now therefore be it resolved, the Town Board of Town of Lancaster hereby authorizes the budget transfer above described. May I have a second? Second. On the question. On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazer?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes. Councilmember Mazer, you have 24 through 26, please.
Yes, sir. Mr. Supervisor and Honorable Town Board, I offer the following resolution, move for its adoption. Whereas the Town Board is considering the proposed subdivision of 10 lots in the northeast corner of Pavement Road and Peppermint Road, submitted by Metzger Civil Engineering, on behalf of David Kalbacki, proposing the subdivision of a parcel involving approximately 75 acres of land, 611 Pavement Road, Lancaster, New York, into 10 lots, creating larger, low-density, single-family home lots, and said project being further described as Pine Hill Estates subdivision covering a portion of the 5-acre physically disturbed area. Whereas the proposed subdivision will have 10 lots with a minimum size of 3 acres and a maximum size of 17.6 acres. And whereas the Town of Lancaster Planning Board has reviewed the potential adverse environmental impacts of the construction project pursuant to seeker regulations at their meeting September 20th, 2023, and recommended that a negative declaration be issued. And whereas the Town Board has duly considered the preliminary plot plan using the short environmental assessment form, the criteria for determining significance set forth in seeker regulations, and such other information deemed appropriate, including the recommendation of the Town of Lancaster Planning Board. Whereas the Town Board has identified the relevant areas of environmental concern, has taken a hard look at these areas, has made a reasoned elaboration of the basis for its determination, and whereas the proposed action has been labeled unlisted action under seeker. Excuse me. Now therefore be resolved by the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster that 1, the proposed Pine Hill Estate subdivision of 10 lots in the northeast corner of Pavement Road and Peppermint Road, involving approximately 75 acres of land at 611 Pavement Road, Lancaster, New York, into 10 lots covering a portion of the 5-acre physically disturbed area, will not result in any large and important impacts, and therefore be an action which will not have a significant adverse impact on the environment, and therefore the Board issues the attached negative declaration of environmental significance for the reasons stated therein. 2, the Town Clerk shall file a copy of the negative declaration in the file for the project. 3, the Town Attorney's Office shall prepare and file a notice of determination of non-significance with the petitioner and with all required New York State and Erie County agencies, filing a copy of letter of transmittal, and 4, this resolution is effective immediately.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazer?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes.
Resolution number 25, whereas Metzger Engineering, PLC, on behalf of David Kalbacki, has submitted a revised preliminary plot plan proposing the subdivision of parcel involving approximately 75 acres of land at 611 Pavement Road into 10 lots, creating larger, low-density, single-family home lots. Said project being further described as Pine Hill Estates subdivision covering a portion of 5-acre physically disturbed area. And whereas a seeker review of this project was held September 20th, 2023, and negative declaration was issued at the time, and whereas the revised preliminary plot reviewed was presented at September 20th, 2023 Planning Board meeting, and there being no changes to the plan, approval was recommended. Now therefore it be resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster hereby approves the revised preliminary plot submitted by Metzger Civil Engineering on behalf of David Kolbacki, proposing the subdivision of a parcel involving approximately 75 acres of land at 611 Pavement Road, Lancaster, into 10 lots, creating larger, low-density, single-family home lots. Said project being further described as Pine Hill Estates subdivision, covering a portion of the 5-acre physically disturbed area with the following condition. 1, inclusion of sidewalk waiver.
May I have a second?
Second.
I have a question, a comment. The second whereas probably should read October 2nd of 2023 since the negative declaration came out 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, I didn't know if that was...
That September
because of the-
20th
Was the planning board...
refers to planning board, but it's referenced in the next paragraph. So I would ask somebody to make a motion that that date be changed to 10/2/23.
I'll make a motion to change it.
It's just a clerical error.
It's a clerical
Okay,
error.
so I'm not gonna,
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
All right, so as long as that's acceptable to the board.
That's...
Okay,
All right, that's fine.
so on the roll.
Councilmember Burkhart.
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman.
Yes.
Councilmember Mazer.
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino.
Yes.
Resolution number 26, whereas the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster is considering the rezone and site plan application submitted by Metzger Civil Engineering on behalf of Douglas Wicks for the proposed rezone affecting 2.5 acres of land and a 4-lot minor subdivision in a general commercial district to a residential district at 5767 Genesee Street and 5775 Genesee Street in the Town of Lancaster. And whereas at its September 18th, 2023 meeting, the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster approved a negative declaration and misidentified the project as including townhouse developments. And whereas the Town of Lancaster Planning Board has reviewed the potential adverse environmental impacts of rezoning the property and constructing additional single-family dwelling pursuant to seeker regulations at their meeting on September 6, 2023, and recommended a negative declaration be issued. And whereas the Town Board has duly considered the plans for the rezone using the long environmental assessment form, criteria for determining significance set forth in seeker regulations, and such other information deemed appropriate, including the recommendation of the Town of Lancaster Planning Board. Whereas the Town Board has identified the relevant areas of environmental concern, has taken a hard look at these areas, has made a reasoned elaboration of the basis for its determination, whereas the proposed action has been labeled Type 1 action under seeker. Now therefore it be resolved by the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster that 1, the proposed rezone affecting 2.5 acres of land and a 4-lot minor subdivision in general commercial district to a residential district at 5767 Genesee and 5775 Genesee Street in the Town of Lancaster will not result in any large and important impacts, and therefore it is an action which will not have significant adverse impact on the environment, and therefore the board issues the attached negative declaration of environmental significance for the reasons stated therein. 2, the town clerk shall file a copy of the negative declaration in the file for the project. 3, the town attorney's office shall prepare and file a notice of determination of non-significance with the petitioner and with all required New York State and Erie County agencies, filing a copy of the letter of transmittal. And 4, this resolution is effective immediately.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll.
Councilmember Burkhart.
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman.
Yes.
Councilmember Mazer.
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino.
Yes. Can I have a motion to suspend the rules to present the suspended resolution?
Motion to suspend the rules.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the roll, please.
And who is the second?
Me.
Oh, Mark.
Councilmember Burkhart.
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman.
Yes.
Councilmember Mazer.
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino.
Yes. I'd like to move resolution number 27, whereas the Town Board of Town of Lancaster has previously adopted an operating budget for 2023 fiscal year, whereas one or more town departments have made budget transfers or requested budget transfers contrary to the originally adopted operating budget for the 2023 fiscal year. whereas the town board of the town of Lancaster has duly considered the following budget transfer. It's a $40,000 transfer from buildings and the other capital outlay line item to the other capital outlay line item in central processing data for a cloud server update. Now therefore be resolved, the town board of town of Lancaster hereby authorizes the budget transfers above described. May I have a second?
Second.
On the question, on the roll.
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazer?
Yes.
Supervisor Rafino?
Yes. Okay. You know when you're ready, we'll go on to communications.
Okay.
Good. Okay, our communications, we have 517 and 518 received and filed. 519, 520 are resolution this evening. 521 is planning committee. 522 resolution this evening. 523 received and filed. 524 and 525 planning committee. 526 through 528 received and filed. 529 planning committee. 530 received and filed. 531 and 532 planning committee. 533 and 534 received and filed. 535 resolution tonight. 536 received and filed. 537 and 538 planning committee. 539 through 541 received and filed. 542 and 543 planning committee. 544 goes to the police. 545 resolution tonight. 546 through 549 received and filed. 550 planning committee, and 551 received and filed. So now we'll ask anybody in the audience that would like to speak on any subject near and dear to their heart, please raise your hand, come up to the podium, give your name and address, and so the town clerk can report. Mr. Jim?
Good evening. My name is James Ostroff, O-S-T-R-O-F-F. I live at 48 Stutzman Road, Bowmansville, New York, 14026. Tonight I would like to speak on a couple of things that I really feel close to my heart. The first is I've been a resident of the town since January 1995. And recently I had the opportunity to visit the Lancaster Town Highway Department and speak to the people who work there. And I would like to say that I feel that these individuals are under-recognized, and I would like to recommend to the board that they actually establish a day of recognition for the Lancaster Highway Department for what they actually do. And maybe even treat them to a lunch or a breakfast or a dinner. They do outstanding work every single day, in the past, the present, and the future. And I see these people working every day on the roads, and what they do is fantastic. I was recently informed that the town of Lancaster, much to our credit, was the first town from the storm in December that we were actually cleared down to black pavement. These people do an outstanding job. I feel they're unrecognized, and I would like the town to do something for them, if nothing else, just to establish a day of recognition. Secondly, I would like to state that I am, as I've previously stated, 100% for a building moratorium in the town for the following reasons. We live in the United States of America. We like to call ourselves a free country. Our freedoms are based on our rights, and our rights stem from the Bill of Rights, the first 10 amendments of the Constitution. We have the right to freedom of speech, which allows Nazis to walk through a Jewish community, but it does not give them the freedom to carry out their philosophy. Second Amendment gives us the right to bear arms. We have the right to have a well-regulated militia to protect our homes and our families from invasion and also from the tyranny of government. But it does not give us the freedom to unleash our weaponry upon our fellow citizens. I would like to comment on the recent approval, I can't remember the name of it, with the Fieldstone or whatever it was, off of William Street. And the reason why I'm speaking about this is because, and now I'm not an attorney and I don't understand, but I have been told that if a person has property, they have a right to develop the property as long as it conforms to the town's rules and regulations. However, does this right give them the freedom to impinge upon the residents, the public health, the public welfare, the public safety, when the infrastructure of the town that we live in cannot possibly bear even what we have today? We do not have the abilities to keep continuing growing, but yet we continue to do so. Supervisor Ruffino, with all due respect, and I know that you stated that and you voted yes for the development because you said that if we didn't, we would have a lawsuit, and I've spoken to you before about this, and I know that you have had personal experience with this. And again, sir, with all due respect, there is no criticism, there is no negativity. It's just I asking you man to man. When you had that lawsuit threatened to you, how many years ago was that, sir?
Probably about 10 years ago.
About 10 years ago. So in the past 10 years, which is a decade, we've had a lot of development, a lot of new homes, a lot of new people coming into the community. And again, we do not have the infrastructure to bear what we even have now, but yet we're welcoming more into our communities. So I ask, though the Constitution gives us the right to develop our property, just as we have the right to freedom of speech and freedom to bear arms, but we have the right, but we don't have the freedom to, just like under the First Amendment, we do not have the right to yell fire in a theater of crowded people. There is a line where our rights and our freedoms impinge on our fellow citizens.
5 minutes are up, Jim.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Before anybody goes on, I just want to update everybody on who's ever been following the story of the 9-year-old girl that's been missing. She's been located. The 9-year-old girl who went missing and is believed to be abducted from Morrill Lake State Park on Saturday evening was found and is safe. A message from New York State Police Department on Monday evening said she's been located in good health. The suspect is in custody. So, yeah. I believe you had your hand up, sir.
Sir, respectfully, Bill Sigmund, Martinville Department of Public Works. Thank you. May I respectfully sit down, Supervisor?
Right? Yeah.
Thank you very much.
There you go. Got the mic.
Supervisor and council members, my presentation tonight, I will call it suspense drama. Since August of this year, the Village of Lancaster has posted a job position for our Superintendent of Public Works. Our village mayor, Ruda, called for a special meeting with 2 agendas on the docket. First agenda was for DPW Superintendent position. Second agenda was engineering proposal from William Schultz and Associates. This special meeting was called for on September 29th. With profound interest, I personally attended this quote-unquote special meeting, intent on hearing from our Mayor Ruda on her selection of the quote-unquote superintendent of our DPW. Astoundingly, exactly from the start, our mayor called for executive session with her trustees. At the conclusion of this event, the mayor and her trustees returned, resuming Mayor Ruda's called special meeting. The suspense drama of whom was going to be the Village of Lancaster's next DPW superintendent was removed from us village residents' scrutiny, with our mayor moving right to the second agenda on this special meeting called. I'm bringing this moment up for a reason, much discussion. Personally speaking to the village's DPW, I want to make it clear right now, I never communicated to town councilman and village DPW worker Adam Dickman. That's got to be clear.
Even the towns and own highway departments workforce and specific villages of residents insightful information, but seeing the village's mayor regarding this hiring of a DPW superintendent instead of a quote-unquote special meeting with the suspense drama making our mayor to look like, according to my outlook, a ringmaster of this circus, with the performance of this ringmaster for the entertainment for us village residents. To the present tense with Lancaster's town board today, these village and town workforce representatives and specific village residents had heard of 4 uppermost names for this village DPW superintendent's position. The conclusion of that was concluded by all that the town of Lancaster owned highway superintendent John Planto was handpicked by our village's mayor for the DPW superintendent position. So I am scrutinizing and exploring in regards to the town board members tonight, their acute knowledge of this village of Lancaster DPW superintendent position that very insightful and knowledgeable Lancaster workforces and residents have discerned. Please restrict from causing more suspense drama. I really ask that of you. Like our Mayor Ruda rendered at her called special meeting, called on September 29th, that I'm believing our village mayor and trustees have become a governmental secret society. Right now, I'd like to respectfully, your feedback is now appreciated. If you've heard of it, if you have discussed it as a superintendent, as a town board, each member, I'd like to hear if you heard. This is a public meeting, and because it was a special meeting, you know, we have no respectfully can ask any type of question, which I deem those important.
So this is a comments only session. There's no response from the board.
Nobody heard anything.
Again, there's no response from the board. This is you discuss anything you want near and dear to your heart. This is your time to discuss your comments.
Correct.
Okay?
So then nobody, council members, no feedback, just like I got from the village. Thank you.
Anybody else like to speak? Okay, I'm going to ask for to go
another
into
secret
executive
society.
session for the 3 reasons that I stated earlier. Motion to go into executive session?
Yeah, motion.
Motion by Mr. Burkhardt, and a second by Mr. Dickman. And the roll, please.
Councilmember Burkhardt?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazer? Supervisor Andino?
Yes. We will return. If you're not here, thank you for attending. Have a great night.
We just got a lot.
I probably will.
That's Friday night, I didn't hear anything. You'll ask me, very well.
Olivia's Friday night. I had monkeys.